Hello, my name is Richard Miller and I will be taking you through the challenge of pulling the whole application for SHGF funding together as you close in on the final date. By now you should be deep into the last push to get your application completed. And I hope you've been taking advantage of the toolkits and on-demand masterclasses that are available from the website. And they cover all aspects of a retrofit project and help you gather all the information that you need. Unfortunately, you're probably inundated with all of the complex information that seems to be required for the application, and you're very short of space. The descriptive text boxes on the application form seem very small, and there are practical restrictions on the annexes and additional information if you actually want people to read them. How are you going to squeeze everything in? And how are you going to make a coherent and convincing story out of all this material? The first suggestion is that you make sure that one person holds the pen. Whilst it is possible to create a strong application with a clear story by committee, it is not easy. A clear narrative can emerge more easily if one person is converting the thoughts of a group into text. The second suggestion is to make sure you answer the exam questions. It might seem trivial, but it's a common problem. Faced with those small boxes, people start putting in the background and context and actually squeeze out the answer which is really required. So make sure you use the limited space and the limited word count you have to address the actual question. This is an example of one of the exam questions, and it gives you a lot of information. So respect the instructions in the guidance and the word limits for each answer. Using the guidance in the application form, the competition guidance and the FAQs, you can break down the information required using the N.O.S.E or N.O.S.E model. Needs. Show that you've understood and responded to BAE's needs. What are they trying to achieve and how will your project deliver their objectives? Outcomes. Paint a picture of the results you will deliver that address their strategic needs. Solutions. What do you plan to do and how will you do it? Why is your project the best way to meet their needs? And then evidence. Provide specific evidence that you can deliver for BAEs. This approach is covered in more detail in the masterclass, Developing Application Responses Using a Storyboarding Approach. Another way to think about the project and the essence of the project is to answer three critical questions. What is the project and what will it deliver? Why are you proposing this project? And how are you going to deliver it? This is our model of the components of the business case. All the questions you must answer to make a good application and have a successful project. This is covered in detail in the Building the Business Case toolkit you can download from the website. The outcomes, benefits, and retrofit actions cover what is in the project. What will the project deliver? The strategic purpose covers the why. How does this fit with both the requirements of BAEs and the needs of your specific organization? Where does it fit within your overall strategy? How are you going to make sure that the leadership team fully supports this project? The other sections, the delivery plan, costs, financing, resource requirements, procurement strategy, and risk management, cover how you plan to deliver the project objectives. You can use the elements of the business case to inform your application, to provide the key information, and to construct the story about your project. Never forget that your assessor is a normal human just like you. They need to see that you have convincing answers for the questions and that you can deliver a project that will make a difference. This is more than just facts. You're telling a story about your project. a story that engages and excites, that can hold an audience, one that can convince the assessor that your project will make a real difference and that you can successfully deliver it. To be able to tell that story, you must be master of your brief and you must be able to present it clearly and succinctly. A way to do this is to create an elevator pitch. You probably know the story. You have a great idea, you meet the CEO in the elevator, and you have 20 seconds between floors to make your case. Not to cover all the detail, but to interest people. You get the chance for the detail later. Grab their attention first. Marketeers have an acronym for the journey you take a buyer on. AIDA, AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action. And you'll be amazed at the number of times I've listened to people with a strong idea spend all their time giving the context and the history and never getting around to what the idea actually is. This is potentially fatal to an application. You've really got to make sure that the key elements come across in the answers you give. So make sure you cover the important stuff right at the beginning of any answer you give. Always be clear. The problem is, it is important because if only we could, it would solve, enable, fix, create, and to do that we need to. If you have the elevator pitch on one page, it is much easier to select the ideas, the phrases and data that make the case for your project in the application form. A good way to strip back the story to its essentials is to use the inverted pyramid. This approach to structuring stories is widely used in print journalism and web writing. You start with the critical points you want to get across, in this case the what, the why and the how of the project, simple, direct language and the minimum of words. Then you add the main story, providing the core argument, and finally there's other related information, specific details of the project. The great strength of the inverted pyramid is you can adapt it to any length available to tell the story. With a short space, you make sure you get the key points across. With a bit more time, you can cover more of the story, but you still hit the important points at the beginning. And you can translate this directly into the application form. You look at the question that's being asked, you think about your elevator pitch, you think about the answer to the question and make sure that you hit the key points, that first sentence. The first paragraph of your answer carries that core information which engages the audience and gives them confidence you know what you're talking about and then leads them into the rest of the document. So in summary, your problem is how to take everything that you and your consortium partners have discussed and planned and fit it into the very limited space on the application form without losing the story. You must respect the space limits. Going over the limits will win no friends, no matter how elegant your turn of phrase. Use the guidance to make sure you understand exactly what Bayes is looking for. Make sure you answer the question. Rabbit holes are inviting and often very exciting, but they waste space. Have one person complete the application form. It is much easier to keep everything consistent and make it flow. The application is more than hard facts. It's a story about how your project can make a difference and how you will deliver it. You have to organize the raw material, the elements, the data, the concepts of your project so that you can tell an effective story. Use your elevator pitch and N.O.S.E methods to strip the story back to the core. Make sure you have a clear picture of the essence of your proposal. Get it onto that one page, what it is and why it matters, because that will help you to fill in the application form. And recognize that the assessor is human, just like you. You have to help them understand why your project is so good. Your story must convince them that this is a project that can make a real difference and that you are the team to deliver it. If you need further information, you can get it from the website socialhousingretrofit.org.uk, or by email info@socialhousingretrofit.org.uk. Thank you very much for your attention.